All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so why don't we get warmed up, and then there's a few things I've been thinking about, a few things that kind of brought to my attention over the week there that I thought it would be great to touch on, and keep reviewing our tunes. I thought, for instance, somebody mentioned Miss Lyle's Straspe, which we did a long time ago. Now, I don't think anybody here, except maybe Susan Blazer, has learned the Miss Lyle's Straspe, because it was one of the first tunes that our class here learned, and it was a good couple of years ago. So I thought it'd be great to relearn it.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's not the easiest, and it's one that traditionally people put in front of the King George IV set. So I thought it would be great to take a look at that. I made a video of King's Reel, like teaching King's Reel bit by bit there, for people that didn't get that the first time around. Oh, there's Simone, that's good. And I made a video of, what was the other video I made? It was
Drunken Landlady.
Drunken Landlady, that's right. Because that was another one that we did, years ago now. And lots of I've had different people join and stuff. So, hi Simone. So I thought that'd be great to relook at that as well. So I made a video. Where I spell out all the phrases, and you can get it off of there as whenever you want. And so anyway, and I just thought we'd go down the list of reviewing those tunes that we had learned previously and really get them nice and strong, okay? And a few technical things too. So yeah, so we'll get, yes.
I just want to say, sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
How useful those videos are. Extremely useful for me. I go through them bit by bit, and then I use my metronome to try and speed up. My speed is really lacking, but at least I know when I play them slowly, I'm getting it right. And it's really, really helpful to have you playing them with me, like on the video.
Yeah.
So I just want to say how much I appreciate that.
Oh, well, thanks. No problem. I enjoy making the videos, that's for sure. I'm interested in something, though, Jocelyn. So you say that your speed is lacking. And many, many people say that about their fiddling. But tell me something. When you try to go fast, say with one of these tunes or whatever, what happens that stops you? What makes your bow stop?
For one thing, there's a couple. I think there's more than a couple things, but I get the notes wrong. Number one, like I'm just going too fast. The other thing is the timing of my bow doesn't coincide with the timing of my fingering. So I hear almost like in the guitar world, it's almost like a hammering.
Yeah.
That kind of thing happening.
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't know if I'm fingering too fast or if I'm bowing too fast, that something's not syncing together. So when I slow it right down, I get more confident in the right notes, first of all, and then the other thing is, I started off learning classically, and there's no way you can do that long, clear bow when you're trying to pick up speed. Like I have to, I think you were talking about last time, almost like shake your wrist, like this. And that's something I've never been able to master 100% because it's always been like when we're playing doing the violin stuff, it's always so slow trying to get a clear sound, which is very, very good in and of itself. I think it's really important to get that. And I wish maybe I should also be taking classical violin lessons while I'm doing this to get that clear sound. But yeah, it's very, very different for me. But when I was with James and the orchestra, I was speeding up. Probably some of the tunes that you have to memorize them. You really have to memorize them, and that's the other thing. As I'm learning this, I haven't memorized anything yet. I have to have that muscle memory where everything is going. And I was probably getting up to, I would say, a medium fast speed, which is really impressive for a few songs, a
Yep.
few tunes. But that's where that's basically where I'm having my struggle.
Sure.
Also, some tunes are way more difficult. I don't mean more difficult if they're slow, but in terms of getting the fingering right, from jumping from, say, a low string to a higher string in a quick way, trying to get the fingering and the notes right on is a struggle for me. So anyway.
Well,
But,
you pointed out a few very common things that get in people's way that, this whole group could work on, and it would be very useful for everybody in this group. So the first thing you mentioned was, now what was it that you said there, that your fingers are getting out of sync with your bow?
yes,
That was the first thing you mentioned. Now, that is something I run into all the time, especially with adults. One of the main kind of differences between, say, an adult learner who comes at it sort of later in life or whatever, and the people that do it when you're a kid, is that some of the things that they make you do when you're a kid are really, really valuable, and you don't realize it until the notes are flying and you realize you have a little advantage, right? So, and one of the big things about that kind of syncing up your finger and your bow, and that's what I call it, lining up finger and bow, right? Now, one of the big misconceptions about that is that the finger moves at the same time as the bow. See that? But that's not the way it works. Your finger has to move first. Okay? If your finger doesn't move before your bow, you get that overlappy sound.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's not something that a lot of people realize, about the fiddle. That finger has to be down before the bow starts moving. Or, just like you described, if you get past, say, 85 beats per minute on the metronome, that is going to go out of sync. Big time. Here's what happens. So, here's a finger that moves first. See that? Here's when they both move at the same time. See that? Is that the sound you're describing? Yeah. Such a common problem. Big common problem. So there's two things about that. First of all, you got to train your finger to move first. That's your first job. Now, I'll tell you the way that they did it with me way back when I was like 7 years old in Suzuki. And it is that, like, when you open up the Suzuki book, the whole bunch of the first pieces, they make you do what they call détaché bowing. Have you guys ever heard of détaché bowing? A little bit. So it's where you stop your bow completely between each note. So you're doing Twinkle Twinkle. And when you do that, when you do a little bit of that, your finger has no choice but to move first. See that? It takes advantage of that little gap and it moves. And then it gets into the rhythm of moving just before your bow. See that? So they had you doing it right up until like long, long ago, I remember the Happy Farmer. See that? And you can see the choreography there. Like it really forces your hand to do that. So that's the first thing that you do to get rid of that what I call an overlappy sound. The second thing you do is try to keep your fingers down as much as you can, So you were talking about going from, say, a low string to a high string. When I'm playing the note on the low string, I'm moving my finger over to the high string to get it there before my bow has to get there. I kind of put my fingers down in combos. See that? Depending on the tune. So like, for instance, an E minor tune, my first finger would go across the D and the A and stay there for most of the tune. Because I know that E and B are going to be used all the time, and so I just leave them there. And then you don't have to sweat that at all. See what I mean? I was playing a tune the other day, or yesterday at the session, the Galway Rambler. So you see how I did that first lick? Very little hand movement, lots of notes. See that? So I see that the melody goes between D and G. So I just put my hand there. And then, yeah, sure, I have to add my finger. for the next note. But that's not a big move. That's an easy move. See that? And the rest I just leave there. So those are the two things that make your playing smoother and less of that overlappy where fingers are outrunning bow or bow is outrunning finger. Now you said you weren't sure which was the culprit, right? Whether your fingers are outrunning your bow or your bow are outrunning your fingers. I'm going to guess that it's probably your bow moving first, because for me that's mostly what I've run into, is the bow moves first. The other thing that tells me that is that you were saying that you speed up when you were in the orchestra. And when the orchestra went online, one of the first things everybody discovered was that although they thought that they couldn't keep up with me, it was actually such that they were speeding up ahead of me all the time. And I remember, like, so many people got that idea because they would be finished before me, you know? And it's one thing when you're in a big orchestra and, you know, you finish and you're kind of like, you know, oh, whatever, everybody, it's a raggedy ending, whatever. But when it's on the Zoom and you finish and then you look and I'm still playing, there's no way you can deny and you understand what's going on. So that was a big come to Jesus moment for, I'd say, like 2/3 of the orchestra. And we figured out what it was. Cutting off quarter notes short, cutting off dotted quarter notes short. Though that's the biggest thing. So you have to give those notes their full length or you're going to be ahead. And that's the problem that you were describing there. The other thing you were talking about, memorizing the music. So when when you're trying to go fast, you're right. You get to a certain point where you can't read all those notes anymore. Like, it's just going to slow you down, right? And I have some students. So funny, in the past year I have a few that have really gotten far, like really gotten better with tempo and intonation. And I got one lady and she's like doing great at like 90 beats per minute, and then she has these little hitches and I say, well, what happened? She was like, well, I just realized I hadn't read that part. So even though she had played it, because she hadn't read it, she felt like she had to go back a little bit and kind of replay it again. You know what I mean? So you really can get tied to the music. Now, the thing is that I want to be careful of is this idea of memorizing the music. So, you know, memorizing this stuff, like, that's what they used to say about classical music, that you get your piece. I remember when I was a soloist, I was a kid, you get your piece and you memorize it. So, you know, you play it 1,000 times and you try to get it so that you remember it all. But that's never the way that I've looked at jigs and reels. With jigs and reels, it's what I call it is understanding the tune. Because memorizing it means you have no idea about it, so you got to guess where it's going and stuff like that. But tunes aren't like that, right? The tunes are very predictable. See, there's so much repetition, and there's the same phrase with a different ending or whatever. So I find it far better to understand how the tune is put together. See that? You got first phrase, you got the second phrase, that's the response. You most definitely got the first phrase again, and an ending. And it can't be any other way. See what I mean? It eliminates the variables from your head. It's like remembering a conversation that you understand. It's not like you're going to remember it in some weird way where the response was weird. It can only be a couple of things. And so that's what you kind of see. It takes the variables away and it makes you more able to get through the tune when you're trying to remember it. See what I mean? Okay. But you make a good point. Now, another very good point you made was this thing with using the wrist. And the difference between the classical approach and the fiddle approach to using the wrist. And a couple of the violinists that I hang out up at National Music Camp, they have talked to me about my wrist. And they're kind of blown away by my wrist, you know. The one guy, Corey Gemmel, he's one of the top freelancers in town. And he was talking to me about how the violinists have this ideal for the turnaround. So the turnaround is when you're finished your up bow and you start your down bow, or vice versa. That's what they call the turnaround, right? And in the classical world, they want a silent turnaround that nobody can hear. That you hear just as continuous note, nobody hears an interruption. Now, apparently, according to Corey, that has never ever been achieved by anybody up to this point in history. Yehudi Menuhin came the closest, but apparently still one of the other great violinists, because apparently they blindfold each other at Juilliard and everything. They're completely obsessed with this idea. The other thing they're obsessed with is making the down bow sound exactly the same as the up bow. Now, I don't know if you've ever thought about that, but it's really hard. It's unmistakable. The up bow has one sound, the down bow has another. These classical guys, they want everything to sound the same. So they also blindfold each other and try to see if they can make down bows and up bows exactly the same. Again, never been achieved apparently, but they keep trying, right? So Corey was telling me about that, and he was like, we're obsessed with the turnaround. It's all we ever think about and try to get better. All you do is turn around, he said. Because with the fiddle music, it's true. It's like it's this the whole time, just the turnaround, right? So it's a very common thing that people are trying to get better. Even the real good classical guys, they're still trying to get better at that turnaround, right? So I have a couple of things that we're going to do to improve that. One of the things is the jiggle. See that? Now you got to be very strict. That's the only thing. You have to be absolutely sure that you're doing it just with your wrist and not with your arm. You know, because that's easy. And you talking about getting past that gulf of, say, 80 beats per minute to 100, that huge chasm there, that's usually what's going on, is a failure to be able to use the wrist. Because when you get to a certain tempo, for most people here, the left hand moves very fast, the fingers, like even beginners. Like you can do this really, really fast, right? Try to do the same thing with your arm. Never going to happen. It's a large muscle. It'll never keep up with this small muscle group, right? So you have to use the same muscle group. See, look at that. That lines up good right away. This, you're never ever going to do it. Never in a million years. You get, apparently, it seems in my experience, 80 is the big cutoff point for arm to hand. See that? 80, 85 for most people. At 85, you're still making her with the arm, but you want to go faster than that, and it gets pretty hard. See what I mean? So we're going to do a few things to address that. I think it would be a very good idea for everybody here. Okay? There's also hand, 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 arm, arm. Hand, 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 arm, arm. And I think I might have touched on that, but we'll keep working on that because that's an extremely good exercise. Yes, Claire?
Okay, so the question I have, what you're saying right now leads right into one of my questions, that this is what always happens. If I'm trying to move my wrist fast like that, I completely lose my grip on the bow. It's
Good.
just like it's flying around. No, it like goes all over the place, and I don't know.
Okay.
Like I can't keep it in one spot. It just, so somehow the way I'm holding it does not make it stay in my hand. I'm not saying that I lose a tight grip on it. I'm saying it doesn't stay in my hand.
You make a very good point there, Claire. So first of all, what I'm talking about with that kind of really clean turnaround, right? It depends on a very loose bow hold. Like when I'm playing, I have the feeling like the bow is going to fly out of my hand the whole time I'm playing. And that's how I know I'm doing it right, you know? And I was talking to my friends Jim McGee and Barry, what's Barry's last name? I can't remember, but he's a great fiddle player. I've known these guys for like, it has to be almost 20 years now. And we were talking about that subject. And Jim McGee was talking about the famous Irish fiddle player, Tommy Peoples, came to play at Chris Langan back 2000, I think it was. And he's at the Transact Club. And he's playing, and it was hot. Jim said it was very hot in the room that day. And the bow flew out of his hand and landed on the piano like that. So with fiddle players, we are barely hanging onto the bow. Now, here's the thing though. If it's such that you're flying and that it actually does fly out of your hands, it tells me that you need to get your fingers under the bow stick a little bit more. So I don't know if you can see this, but when I hold my bow, my first finger is under that stick. Do you see that? A little bit. The very tip of my finger, it curls under. Now that's a proper bow hold, like a classical bow hold. See, the knuckle is over the stick, right over it. meaning that I can curl my finger under the bow a little bit. Because they used to say that the bow hold should be dynamic. It should be loose in your fingers like a trailer hitch, hey? Allowed to move. And that's how it stays straight. But if you don't have your fingers under it, then that's probably why it's actually is flying out of your hand. See what I mean? Is you have to cradle it. And that means that it won't escape. But if it's only on the sides, it might. See that? And that's what I'm thinking. The way you describe it, it might be that you're only on the sides, which means that it can escape your hand. Now, you also made a really good point in your email there, Claire, which was knowing what string you're on without looking. Very, very good point. Now, the only thing I can say about that is that each of the strings has a different diameter, and that's how I do it. Okay? The A string is old familiar. It's the most familiar feeling that my third finger has on my left hand, because I've been holding this thing ever since I was 6 years old. So that A string is just feels so familiar because it's the one we use the most as well. So for me, that's how I know it, is the familiarity. The D string is slightly bigger and a lot softer. Okay? Do you notice that, doing that on your hand there? A lot softer. So that's your giveaway for that. The G string is a no-brainer because it's the only one over on the edge, right? It has no neighbor. And it's also very fat. So you get to know the feel of that as well. And then, of course, the E string is just the tiniest little thing that has no winding. It's very unforgiving, and it also has no neighbors. So really, the biggest problem is between the A and the D. So if you get that difference between the tightness, that should do it. Because in terms of diameter, they're very similar. Okay, that you won't feel much of a difference there. Great questions, guys. Great things to bring up. They're really, really good. Does anybody else have any more little challenges or things that are bothering them and sticking in your craw that you want to get rid of with your playing, or that you want to get? Elizabeth wants to get her fiddle in tune. So what's going on with your fiddle there, Elizabeth?
I think I finally got it in tune.
Oh, good. Were you at the bottom of your fine tuners?
Yeah, fine tuners, yeah.
Oh, I
It's all
see.
good.
Yeah, it happens. I'm at the bottom of mine too, almost, as I got the new strings. Okay, so let's get started, shall we? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a little bit more of the work on the technical on this tonight. So let's do our G major scale and arpeggio, regular-wise. And then we're going to do a couple of bowing exercises that I think are going to help with the things that Jocelyn was talking about there with the wrist and the general sound of playing the fiddle. So first of all, let's just get the scale and arpeggio going. And I'm going to get my tuner up here. I had the brainwave the other day that I could just download the Tunable app right onto my computer. Don't know why it took me this long, but anyway, so here we go. Oh, I better check the tuning. There we go. All right, I am now in tune. So let's do a nice, slow, best you've ever done G major scale. Ready, go. All right, arpeggio, ready, go. Now, the first thing I'd like to do is the jiggle. So I showed you already there, but we'll do it again. So I think the best way to do it is to time it. So I usually do it by number of jiggles per note. So let me see what's going to be comfortable. Just like that. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and on each one. Now it doesn't really matter. Just get that wrist jiggling. Okay, it doesn't really matter if it gets perfectly number of times. We just want to get the mobility going in that wrist. And Jocelyn, you're going to try and make sure you get the finger down first, right? Finger first. Well, that's for everybody, but okay, here, let's do it. I'll count us in. 1, 2, 3, and now, how are we feeling about that? Did that work okay? It did. That's great. We're going to do it again. I got to rosin my bow a little bit. Oh, where's my rosin? Somebody stole my rosin. Even though I'm the only person that plays the fiddle in this house.
You dropped it on the floor.
Probably. Where'd it go? My wife sometimes uses my studio, and she doesn't know anything about rosin because she's a brass player. I don't know, it's gone. Oh, I got an extra one. Hold on. Just 1 second, guys. I got an extra one, but it's busted pretty good. See that? Not ideal. When they bust, they start to dry out. I'm going to use it anyway because any port in the storm. Okay, we'll try that. Okay, so let's give that another go. And your goal is to make it cleaner and nicer. Oh, that's nice. Nice sound. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and... Now that looks like it's going pretty good. I can't see everybody's right arm. So I'm hoping that you're doing this instead of this. But I can't really see. So I'm going to take your word for it and assume that you're doing that. So now, let's up the tempo. Okay? Let's do it about here. Now, if you're getting too much, if it sounds like this, it's because Tarzan's rope is too long. So his feet is digging into the grass as he swings from tree to tree. And if you're getting a sound like this, Tarzan's rope is too short, so you got to lengthen it a bit. And this is where this adjustment is going to be your ticket, okay? So let's try her again faster. 1, 2, 3, and... pretty good. Now, people whose wrists I can see, looking good. Claire, you're looking good. What I like about the way you're doing it, Claire, is that your wrist it's hanging. And that is really the best way to do it. Very good. Same with you, Simone. Looking really good there. Lots of flippy flappy. Looking great. That's all the wrists that I can see. Yes, Claire.
Okay, one thing I noticed there was that the faster I go, the more the bow kind of bounces on the string a bit.
Yes.
So what is happening with that?
Okay, this is the bounciest part of the bow, the middle. Okay, it's the middle of the trampoline, the softest part of the trampoline. So you want to avoid that part. The easiest place to get the good results with this exercise, upper third of the bow. Okay. Also, a little bit of weight usually helps with the bounce. Now, the bounce happens because in the middle soft part, it compresses every time and wants to spring. See that? And you can deal with it by finessing, right? My dad's teacher used to say the bow is shaped like this and you bow like this. See that? Even with your fingers, still the same motion. That'll help too. But I bet you any money where you do it in the bow is going to be the most helpful. Okay? Upper third. Fiddling sweet spot. Let's do it again. One more time. 1, 2, 3, go! Okay, yeah. Now I can see some more people's wrists because they move their cameras. And so doing pretty good. Jocelyn, you are getting a little bit of movement there in your wrist. It's just the beginning, so it's just a little bit. You want more, but what you're getting right now is a bit. See that? It comes in by degrees, okay? At first, it's really hard to get a full sweep, you know what I mean? You have to kind of be happy with this. And after a while, it'll kind of get looser and looser and give you more bow, even for the little notes. Jay, same as you. Now, you're having kind of periodic success with it, and I can see that you're working your fingers, which is really, really good. One way for you to strengthen this idea is practice some bow push-ups. Okay, remember we did those a long time ago. Or I don't know if you were around when we did them, but it's a Suzuki thing. It's very, very valuable. So here's the down part of the bow push-up. Here's the up part of the bow push-up. See that? Down, up. Yep, pretty good. Now avoid this. That's not what we're doing. We're doing it just with the fingers. We're clutching that bow up into the palm, and then we're pushing it back down and letting it hang down. Yeah, that's better. That's a bow push-up. Okay, and you can see how my thumb is curling up too. Okay, that's a bow push-up. And when I'm going flat out with my hand, you can see that the bow push-up is kind of my main kind of bowing procedure there. Okay, so bow push-ups, whoops, is what's going to strengthen that idea. Because you guys, both you and Jocelyn, have a little bit of it. Like you're doing a little bit of the wrist. It is happening a bit. You just have to kind of exaggerate it. And one thing I'll tell you, anything you do with the bow arm, you have to exaggerate it first. It's the only way to get a little bit of it coming through. Okay? Even if it makes your sound a little bit bad, work through it. Now, here's the other thing about classical violinists trying to play fiddle music and trying to sound less classical is dropping your bow. See that? You drop your bow on your string, you try to get a decent sound. Just with that tiny little bit of bow. That was probably the best example I did so far. Here's some good ones. Here's the G. And that's just one bounce. I'm just letting the bow hit that string, but I'm trying to let it hit the string so it still sounds decent. See that? E is the hardest. Yes, Claire?
You're totally not just hitting the string. You have this circular motion going on.
Yes,
with
oh yeah.
everything that's go.
Yeah. So it's kind of like what we just did with this jiggle, with the bow push-ups. It's an expanded version of that. But the idea is that to make the note, rather than depending on a length of bow to make the note, you're hitting it like a drum. And that's a much more fiddly way to do it. See that? Little momentary hits, and that's what gets the arses moving at the dance, you know? Okay, so that's what I want you guys to practice. Now, we can practice it here now. Let's do it on our major scale. We'll do 4 bounces per note. Okay, and I gotta rosin this thing once more. Oh, no, I don't. It just had residue. Sorry about the squeak. The residue on your strings can be a real pain. So let's give that a try. 4 bounces per note. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, how's everybody feeling about that? You're not going to get each one sounding good. Some of them are going to sound good, some of them are going to sound crunchy. You just want to improve that batting average. Now, how's everybody feeling?
Is that idea a little bit of an up bow or a little bit of down bow each time? Or is it, which is it?
Right now we're just doing the down bow. The up bow is kind of a different kettle of fish, but the down bow is really the important one for this momentary bow idea. But so just down bows, just little down bows. Okay, let's do it again. Good question, Jay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so how's everybody feeling about that now? Pretty good? Work on it this week. You'll probably have lots more to talk about there next week after working at that for a week, you know. You can you can use the jiggle. I forgot to mention with the jiggle, you can do that on a tune as well. The kids up at Wikwemikong, they love to do it on Amazing Grace. It kind of sounds nice too. kind of neat. They love it, and I was wondering why they were really into it so much. And I did some research about the fiddlers that were there in the past. And the one guy, Coleman Trudeau, very nice player, spent his whole life as a logger. He on the documentary that I was watching, he played this tune called A Sober Night in Wiki, which is a great tune. It's a waltz. And the second time around when he played it all jiggled. They call that tremolo. The whole thing tremolo. And so I just figure it must be kind of an aesthetic up there. It's just something that they enjoy. But anyway, so there you go. So that's some good bowing exercises to see if we can increase the tempo and get us stronger. Any other questions or problems about any of that you want me to help with before we move on? All right, let's get to the tunes. I thought maybe tonight we'll start with Miss Shepherd, shall we? We'll just learn it. We haven't learned a tune in a long time, and some of you already learned this tune years ago, so I think it'd be great to just tackle that again. Did I say Miss Shepherd or Miss Lyle? I meant Miss Lyle. Miss Lyle's real, is what I meant. There's so many misses in the music. People write tunes about women all the time. About men too, but I don't know. The ones about women are usually better. Okay, so Miss Lyle Strasberg, page 62 of Sandy's book here. Let me play it for you first to remind you how it goes. But it's very simple, and it's a single, which means that the parts are only 4 bars long, so lucky for us, eh? So now, let's see how we start off. Oh, of course, a big octave jump. So we have 3 pickups, and a little triplet there, A, C, and B, and then we go A to A. Then we just scale up, very simple. And then this little lick here. And that's the first phrase. Let's give it a try and see what happens, shall we? Nice and easy. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now a couple of things to point out. The first group there is a long sandwich, long notes in the middle. See that? And then we got regular walking, short, long, short, and then another short sandwich. Sorry, a long sandwich. Okay, so let's try it again with that rhythm in mind. 1, 2, 3. Let's do it again, just like that. 1, 2, 3. Last time to be sure. 1, 2, 3. And then we got this. Oh, wait, is it? See that? That's a cool lick. C to A, B to G sharp, and then the A. Okay? Let's try that phrase. So that's the first bar of the second line. Okay? Ready, 2, 3, go. Okay, one more time. Ready, go. And now we got to get the ending. So, let's see if we can play these 3 phrases here that are almost the same and see if we can get through it without much trouble, and then we'll get the ending. Okay, let's go nice and slow from the top. Stop me if you have any questions.
Dan, on the triplets, are you uppy downy or one bow?
Let me see what I do. Single there. You know, it looks like I'm doing this trick that I do very often with these triplets. The first note of the triplet I play in a down, and the next 2 I play in an up. Okay? See if that'll work for you. Because you're not always going down for the triplet. That's, you know, or up. So that in this tune, that's what I'm doing. When we get to the triplets at the very end, it's different. But for these ones, that's what I'm doing. See if that works for you. And let's start her from the top. See if we can get this. Okay. First 3 phrases. 1, 2, 3. And then this is really simple. Let's try that. So that's a little scale in thirds. And then this little arpeggiated section. Okay, let's try that. So this is now the third line, the first 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's do it again. Ready? Go. One more time. Ready? Go. That's it. Now we should really, theoretically, be able to play this whole first part. Any problems before we try that? All right, let's do it. Fair warning. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Did that work? It looked like it worked. Let's do it again. Especially if it worked. 1, 2, 3. The dog loves Scottish music. What can I say? That's great. Okay, one more time there, people, and then we'll move on to the second part. Please stop me if you're having any problems. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Claire, you having a problem?
Of course. Okay, so I still am not sure. You know, when that pattern repeats, it's the first time and then it repeats the second time. Like
Yeah.
there's three sets of those little eighth note triplets, right?
Yeah.
So the pattern repeats after each one. So the second repetition, I still am not clear on the difference between.
There's one difference. There's one difference. You make a very good point there because it's elusive. The difference is G instead of A for the first note of that triplet. Yeah.
Wait. Yes, not just the triplet, but...
The bit that comes before?
No, the bit that comes after.
Okay.
The sandwiches.
It's the same every time.
No, it's not.
So I thought you were talking about where it goes A down to low A.
Yeah, it does. It goes A down to low A, and then there's B, and then C, and so far it's still the same, D, E, and then instead of F, it's G.
Yep, I see what you mean now. So you're talking about the part that comes after the low A's.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, well let's differentiate those. So the first time...
Sandwich in
Yeah. So the first time it's a straight scale up. So...
Yeah.
See that? Straight scale up, not skipping any notes at all. That's it. It's all it is. Right from the low A. See that? Right to G. Straight scale up. You play all the notes in the scale. Okay? The second time, you skip some notes. You skip one note, the F sharp. That's it. You skip that, you go right to G. Okay? And then the third time around, it's the same as the first time. So we really only have these two different tail ends of the phrase. Let's practice them. So let's practice the first phrase, and then the second phrase, and then the first phrase, and then the second phrase. Let's do that a couple of times, okay? I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3. Let's do that again. First phrase again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's the one that's the straight scale up. Now let's play the next one that skips a note. Okay, same thing. We'll do the same thing. Ready, 2, 3. Let's do that again. Same thing. Second phrase. Ready, 2, 3. Okay, one more time. Nice and slow. I'll go a little slower. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now hopefully that should help you differentiate those two phrases, doing them side by side like that. Now let's try that first part again and see if it hangs together a little bit better. 1, 2, 3. like it worked pretty good. One more time to be sure. 1, 2, 3. Okay, all right. So that's the first part. Everybody good? Relatively, for now? Okay, second part. Now it's very similar, eh? Like the setup. It's kind of like the phrase repeated a few times with a different tail. Very, very similar to the first part. So. So we'll call that the first phrase. Okay. Oh, all right. See you, Pearl. Thanks for coming. Good luck with the schoolwork. Okay. So we'll call that the first phrase. There's already some repetition in it, but we'll do it anyway. So this is the first couple of bars of the second part. We'll play the pickup note of a B, and then it's the last bar of the third line that we're doing. Okay. So we're going to play the B in the up bow. 1, 2, 3, and. Okay, and that's how that goes. It's hanging around that high A a lot. Let's do it again. B pickup note. Ready, go. Okay, one more time to be sure. With your B pickup. Ready, and. Now the nice thing about these crazy, intimidating looking sets of 16th notes that you're looking at there is that they're just little scales down. That's all they are. 4, 3, 2, 1 on the E string. See that? And I'm
So Dan, you're doing uppy downy on that?
Absolutely. Downy uppy actually.
Okay. Oh, downy uppy, okay.
Yeah, and it's the only way. You can slur them, but it takes away a lot from the Scotchy sound.
Okay, and then the triplet in the following measure, bar.
Let me see. I single it, and then up, like it says there on the paper.
Oh, okay. I got a different edition.
Oh, really?
Okay. Thank you. Yep.
Okay, and then I'm just trying to think if there's any others, but I think it's the same. It's the same thing for the rest of it. The triplets at the very end are all single bowed because that's when a strathspey turns into a jig. When you get to the point where there's just lined up triplets like that in a strathspey, that's where you switch over to jig feel, which means straight single bow the whole thing. Okay. All right. So let's do that first. Let's do that first phrase once more. Make sure we got it in. And we're gonna go slow so you're not scared of those 16th notes. 1, 2, 3. Is that feeling good? That looks way better. Now this next one is very similar, of course. But then we do this here. Okay, so let's try that. So now we are starting second bar of the third line. Second bar of the third line we're starting, okay? And we'll do the little pickup, the G pickup before it. 1, 2, 3. let's do that again. Same thing with a G pickup. Okay. Well, it's so in the first bar of the third line, the very last note of that bar is a G, and that's going to be our pickup note for the second phrase. So we're going to play that in an up bow, and then start that bar on a down. Okay, does that make sense? You don't look convinced, Claire. So third line down. Fourth line down. Oh my God, I'm the problem here. Fourth line. Is it fourth line? Yeah. Fourth line down. Last line of that bar is a G. Jeez, I wonder who learns most of the music by ear. Okay, let's do it again. Same thing. For G, and then off we go. 1, 2, 3, and... Okay, I got the rhythm a little wrong there. Let's do it again. Ready, and... Okay, so now, let's see if we can get through the second part, because the next phrase is exactly the same as the first phrase until we get to the jig part. So let's see how far we can get with this B part of Miss Lyle's, okay? So we'll get that B pickup ready, which is the, we're talking about now the third line, definitely, and it's the second bar in. We're going to play the B, and then start the last bar of the third line right through. Ready, go. Got the ending. Now, how did we do there? Not bad? Let's do it again. Same thing right away. Ready, and... Look at these triplets. It's such a great lick. I love this lick. And what I love about it is, it's a scale down and up, da 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 da, and then another scale down and up starting on a different note. It's just such a cool idea. So that's... So let's give that a try, everybody. So this is the last two bars of the tune with our little jig part, starting on the A. Down and up we go. Ready, and... Do it again. Ready, and... One more time a bit faster. You can try to get some of that jig rhythm in there if you can. Ready, and... That looked like it went well. Yeah, pretty good? Okay, cool. If there are no objections, we're going to try the whole B part, unless there's anything that I can help anybody with at this point. Let's do it. Whole B part. No stopping. 1, 2, 3, go. That looks successful. Let's do it again right away. That's what happens when you get it right. 1, 2, 3, and... Looking good, people. Looking good. Okay, take a little breather for a second, and then we're going to try the whole thing. Yeah, this is a great tune. Sandy always played it ahead of all the King George IV stuff, and I think since we're in Ontario, we should honor that tradition that Sandy had going there, you know? When my family played this set, we played Miss Lyle's, but it was at the end of the set, and it was the real version, which is totally cool. It's an awesome setting of the tune, but the Miss Lyle's Strathspey is far more common. The only person I know that plays Miss Lyle's as a reel is Ashley McIsaac. He's the only other guy that I know that actually does that. So it's not very common, but the Strathspey is very common. All right, shall we try the whole dang thing? Right from one end to the other, I think, why not? We've all got our nice clothes on and everything. Okay. Here we go. No giving up. 1, 2, 3. Something specific happened there, Claire? Or did we just just doing it too much, maybe?
When it goes faster, I realize that I'm still trying to read it, reading it is not working for me.
Yeah, have you ever put in the odd finger number on your music?
You know, I have, and it's so tiny that I can't see it.
It might be an idea.
I seriously have a problem with reading stuff unless I'm like right like this, but because I have trifocals and I just cannot get it good.
Yeah.
So these are actually my reading classes, but it only works within a really specific area. So.
Oh, I understand. But the odd finger number might really help.
Yeah, I won't be able to see them, even if I write them in.
What if you wrote them in right big?
Laugh.
Anyway, let's try her one more time, not too fast, okay? And then we're going to leave that for now. It'll give you a chance to get more familiar with the melody so you don't have to read it. And we'll try it a little bit faster next time or whatever. But let's try it, say 2 more times, not too fast. And then we'll leave it for now. We'll leave people get a chance to get familiar with it. Okay? Here we go. One more time. 2 more times. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Woohoo! That looked like it worked for everybody. So just keep practicing it, just to let you know what tempo that was. Oh, Jen texted me. Sylvia landed a cartwheel on her feet for the first time in gymnastics class. Very, very good. Yes. Okay, now let's see. Dee dee da da dum da dum ba dee da 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 dee dee da da da. So we were doing it at about 75 on the metronome. Now let me show you what that means. So I'm gonna, because strathspeys beat on the quarter note. They're not like reels. Reels beat on the half note. So my foot goes down 2 times per measure in a reel, but in a strathspey my foot goes down 4 times. See that? So it's going to mean a little bit kind of high number on the metronome. So what we just did. See that? That's 75. and it should beep for you for every beat. Da 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 da. Okay. So that's what we did tonight, and I'd like to get it up more. I'd like to get it up to say 85. Actually, more than that. It'd probably be more like 90. Okay, why don't we try it? I see people picking away at it at 85. Whoever feels comfortable, let's give it a couple of blasts at 85, okay? Just keep playing, all right? Just keep shooting at the enemy until I'm finished. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. How did we do, people? Look pretty good. Not too bad. So that's great. That's a doable goal. Now, that's not fast enough, of course. If you imagine dancing to that, it would be a very slow dance. But not the slowest. It'd be deca-dee, 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 deca-dee. You could do it, but it'd be an effort. So even faster would be nice. But let's shoot for that for now, okay? Now, I was thinking, we've got about 20 minutes left. Why don't we kind of review and look at Loch Nagar? Remember Loch Nagar? We did it a while back there. And it's a beautiful tune. It's a slow air, and I've had slow airs on the brain. One that we're going to do with the Celtic Orchestra is called Lonesome Eyes. And it's so beautiful, and I convinced my wife to arrange it for the brass quintet for our record that's called The Pipes. And it's so beautiful. Let me play, while you're looking for Loch Nagar, I'll just play you Lonesome Eyes real quick here. We'll get it one of these days. Lonesome Eyes, Jerry Holland. Isn't that a gorgeous tune? Thank you very much, Simone, for the heart. Oh, lovely.
So beautiful.
We'll
Super beautiful.
Isn't it gorgeous? It's so simple. That's why I thought it'd be so nice with the brass quintet, because it's so simple. And they can fill out that repeated phrase, they can fill that out every time. By the time they're done, it's like a wall of sound, you know? But anyway, we'll look at that. One of you guys, don't let me forget to take a look at Lonesome Eyes, all right? But for now, let's see if we can remind ourselves of Loch Nagar, or as Sandy used to call it, Lock the Car.
So Loch Nagar, L-O-C-H, and then a new word, Nagar, N-E-G-A-R?
No, I think it's all one word. It's in the book. Let me tell you where it is here.
Page 42.
Page
42. Page 42.
Full disclosure, I don't have the book.
That's okay.
Can somebody show me, like, the Sandy, because I bought a book by Sandy McIntyre, but it's a Mel Bay thing. It's
yeah.
Thank you.
That is a good one, though. There's nothing wrong with that book.
No, it's okay. And it's got the guitar tab in. And
that's right.
Yeah,
and it can be very handy. But I'm going to make your life so much better.
Is this the same thing as Blooming Heather?
Sorry?
Is it the same thing as Blooming Heather?
Yeah, they also call it that. Now,
okay.
I'm just going to send you, because my student Marie from Guelph, she recently digitized Sandy's whole book.
Whoa.
And so I'm just going to find that and send it to you right now.
Thank you so much.
No problem, man. Here we go, Sandy's book. So it's a folder on Dropbox. So I'm going to send that to you now, Elizabeth. Okay. And that's the whole book. She asked me if he would mind if she digitized it, and I was like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind. Especially since the tunes in it are not his. They're traditional. They're all photocopied out of the old books here and there. And I remember at one point when he tried to sell the books, he got into a little trouble. So he was basically selling photocopies out of other books. So anyway, so I think it's all public domain by now. And it's all up on that Google Drive. Yes?
Can you send it to me too, please?
Oh, sure. I thought I already had.
I can't.
I will send it right now. So that's Claire. Okay, there you go, Claire. Now, I think I also have just the music for it. No, those are tune suggestions. Oh, I might not have the music for it right here. Whatever. I think it's just like... What page did you say it was on, Jay? 43? No.
42.
42.
Top of
yeah.
page 42.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. So to spell it there, just so that you know how it's spelled, it's all one word, Lochnagar. Okay, and I'll take a picture of it now and put it up on my screen for everyone to see. Okay. There we are. Open. And then I will share my screen. Okay, everybody see this? Make it a little bigger. How's that? Everybody seeing that okay? Good. Okay, so let me remind you how it goes. That's it. Not too hard. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Interesting thing, a lot of people play this as a Strass Bay, but I think it's much better as an air, and so did Sandy. So shall we have a go at it, people? Let's do it. Let's do it a good couple of times, and we're not in a hurry, that's for sure. All right. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Again. All right, I'm going to stop my screen share for a sec so I can see you all. How are we feeling about Loch Nagar? Coming back? Anybody having any problems that I can help with?
On those quarter notes going down, I find I'm doing that same thing again. I'm getting out of sync.
Keep those fingers down. They're coming up too soon.
Okay.
Keep them down until the last minute. Your fingers are Irishmen. They're going to linger there until they absolutely have to shift.
Okay.
Last minute. Okay?
Sounds good.
Anybody else? How about you, Jay? I thought you had a question there. It looked like you had a question.
I've heard this before. Like I think I've played something very similar, another piece that's similar to it, is it?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder.
That's something we played with you just recently, eh?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we worked on it. We worked on this going into... Oh, no, we didn't. We never worked on this. I got it totally mixed up with, what do you call it? Huntington Castle. That's what we worked on, but we should learn Loch Nagar. Yeah, Loch Nagar is a great tune. Listen, since we're working on it, let's keep going, okay? If there's anything that's you're not getting, please stop me. But it's a beautiful tune and it's a common tune. Everybody plays it. So let's just keep playing it, okay? If there's a problem, you let me know. No, this is it. Okay, let me share my screen again. Here it is. Everybody see that okay? Yeah? Okay, good. Let's do it. Whoops. Here we go. A 1, 2, 3. Again. Man, I love this tune. I forgot about it a little bit. I did put it on my record. I did it right after Tullocarum. I don't know if you guys know what Tullocarum is, but it's insane. It's a Strass Bay, and the main theme of the Strass Bay is not that insane. That's it. That's the tune, right? But then J. Scott Skinner did, I don't know how many variations. I've never counted them. You never would. But it's the middle of the book. And so when you fold out the book flat, it's all Tullocarum there. And it's insane. It gets into this 16th notes. It's insane. Anyway, so I was trying to think of a reel to go into afterwards that would kind of ramp things up. And after going through many reels, I decided that there's no ramping up after Tullocarum. You can't ramp up anymore. So I went down. And I did Loch Nagar instead. And it's a great transition because I kind of explode out of the Tullocarum and then land on this big D major piece of beauty here. It's just a gorgeous tune. Anybody having any problems with it? First off, I know we've never done it before and you're just reading it, but is it giving you any problems right off the bat? No? It's fairly simple. It's all about your bow, your nice sound, and your good intonation, okay? So let's do it. We'll end off our class tonight by playing Loch Nagar a couple more times, and I'll let you guys get familiar with it. We'll look at it again next week with a few things in mind to make it nice and strong and really good, okay? I'm so glad I remembered and forgot. Okay, let's get this up again here so you can all see it. I don't know if people are still using me, but I'm going to share my screen anyway. Okay, here we go. One more time. A 1, 2, 3. All right, people, that was a very, very good workout tonight. And I hope some of those skills that we talked about at the beginning are going to be useful. Okay, and to recap those, we got the jiggle on the scale. We got the drop in the bow to get the momentary note that's clean. We got the keeping the fingers down as much as possible and trying to make sure you move your finger first. Okay, that's the other thing. And so those are the skills that we worked on tonight that are going to be really useful getting you guys, past that 85 marker up to the 95 and 100 marker, fewer times when the speed stops you, all that kind of stuff. So let's keep going. Oh yeah, and then the string identification. I want everybody to play with that this week. See if you can close your eyes and figure out what string you're on just by the feel. Okay? And we'll talk more about it next time. All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you next Monday. Thanks a million.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay,
Good
bye-bye.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Happy birthday, Diana.
Oh, there you go. Happy birthday, Diana. Woo-hoo! All right. Thanks, Jay.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, man. Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.